Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a hot minute, but I've been busy with my rotation. As you're aware, I was currently working in the emergency department, which is one of the toughest rotation in my training, so a lot of night and twilight shifts. And then to celebrate the ending of that rotation, I took a trip to Grenada, and that's what this video is about today, my trip to Grenada. But before we get into the vlog I created that showed you the good times and things you can do in Grenada, what to expect if you decide to visit this island, I wanted to talk a little bit about the logistics of Grenada. In particular, I wanted to talk about the cost of COVID tests to go to Grenada, which was on the green list. Well, I should say is on the green list. So if you're thinking about traveling to a green country, or actually to any country, because your green list is going to be the minimum you're going to spend in COVID tests, then watch this video. Okay guys, so to travel to Grenada, which as I said is a green country, I had to get 4 COVID tests, 3 of which were PCR tests and 1 lateral flu. My first test, which was my fit to fly, was a PCR test, and this cost me £100. So I actually went to a place in the Bullring, which is the mall in Birmingham. It's called the Regenerative Clinic, and they did a 24-hour turnaround in test result, and that's why I chose them. The reason I had to go to this clinic is because I got scammed. So on British Airways, they advertise a number of COVID test providers that you can take, and I was ecstatic to find one that was about 80 something pounds, which was about the cheapest I was seeing, by the name of Randox. And with this 86 pounds, I was getting, in addition to my fit to fly, I was getting my day 2 return. So I thought it was a really great deal. So I went ahead, I placed my order, and like in 24 hours I got a text message saying that your order has been processed and your unit will be shipped out shortly. And then I realized that days were passing and I wasn't here, and I tried to do everything in advance, because normally when I'm traveling I'm kind of last minute, and I know with COVID it's not the time to be last minute. You have to be as organized as possible, because a lot of people are having issues at the airport where they're not aware of what's required. So I didn't want this to happen to me, so I tried to be really proactive to get my fit to fly and day 2 together, and it did not go as planned. So I tried reaching out to them, and I got a voicemail saying everyone is busy, and I just thought that was really shady. Like, how can everyone be busy and in a facility? So I sent numerous emails and no one got back to me, and at that point I realized I had been scammed. Yes, scammed. So that was 86 pounds down the drain. And then it cost me to spend another £100 because I was unable to book in with Boots. So Boots actually does fit to fly, but you have to book in, and it's about £85, I believe. And their results take about 48 hours to come back. I didn't want to cut it too close with regards to my flight and having that fit to fly certificate. So the next best option was Regenerative Clinic. It was really smooth getting it done there. It was I could have either done walk-in or booking. I did a booking and took about less than 5 minutes in and out, and then I got my fit to fly certificate and results the next day. So that went really well. In addition, so that was COVID test number 1. I also had to pay for a COVID test in Grenada because they do their own COVID testing, another PCR that's done at their airport before you're allowed to enter the country, and that was £109, I believe. I have the exact, so it was £109.72 for that PCR. And in addition to this, I had to walk with my lateral flow. Luckily for the UK, you don't need a PCR to return to the UK. They accept a lateral flow by certain certified providers. I used Cerulean, I believe the name is. Cerulean, and I got my lateral flow done with them, and that only cost me £29. And then finally when I returned, I actually, so that everyone is aware, to return you should have already have your day 2 booked for when you return, because you have to provide a number on your passenger locator form. And so my day 2 was done with Zava, and that was another £69 for my day 2 COVID return. So in all, I spent... Okay guys, so I made a little mistake here when I was filming the video. I actually spent £307.72 in COVID tests. And if you consider that the fact I was scammed and you add in that £86, I spent a total of £393.72 with regards to COVID testing just for my trip. So just as a quick summary, if you're going to a green country, you need 4 tests. Well, actually, let's say 3 tests, and whether or not you need a 4th test depends on the country you're going to. So for the UK, you need a fit to fly PCR test, which you can get done at Boots or Regenerative Clinic. I'm recommending those 2 because that's what I've used. You then need a lateral flow to return to the country, and finally you need a day 2 test relief. And after all of that, I still end up in quarantine because apparently someone on my flight tested positive, and I've been in quarantine for the past 10 days. Yeah, so, and that's something I didn't consider when I was booking my flight, that 1 positive on the plane means that you would still have to quarantine even though it's a green country. I don't know, I didn't consider that. I thought it was like on a personal, maybe direct contact basis, like if I was sitting in the same section of the plane or next to the person, maybe that would I don't know, I just didn't consider that if 1 person on the plane had it, then it means that the entire plane has to quarantine. So that's something else to be aware of if you're doing a job where you can't afford to quarantine, or you're self-employed and you can't afford that downtime. Then just think about all of these things when you decide to travel. I think not having a clear understanding of what was required made the planning of my trip a bit more stressful, but at least now going forward I know what to expect with regards to traveling and with regards to COVID tests. And mind you, this is the cost that I told you guys, that's just for a green country. If you're not fully vaccinated, then if you go to amber country, then you have to do the day 2 and 8 tests. Day 2 and 8, yeah, and that's actually more expensive, the cost of that. So I think the cost I've outlined here is going to be about the minimum you should expect to spend, in addition to the cost of flight, housing, etc. Another specific with regards to Grenada, as I said, they had their own PCR, so that added to my cost. So on average, you should be expecting to spend about £200 in COVID tests, and then whether or not your country also requires an additional COVID test, that would add to the cost. Something else you should be aware if you decide to travel to Grenada, they have a Grenada travel authorization which you have to apply to online, and you need that permission before you're able to fly, and you actually have to show it at the airport here in the UK before they even let you on the plane to Grenada. It's a pretty simple process. In the application you can apply for hotel quarantine or home quarantine. Luckily I was approved home quarantine. I'm not quite sure if that was an error, but so I applied for home quarantine on the ground that I was fully vaccinated, and initially it was refused, and through discussion with, they have a helpline via WhatsApp for Grenada travel authorization, it was then approved after. I think there was a mix-up. I don't know if it was supposed to be approved, or I don't know at which point, but I was happy it was approved. I did not challenge it. And yeah, so that took quite a long time for me to get, because I believe I applied at the beginning of the month, and it took about, I want to say almost 10 days to get that approval, because I remember my flight was approaching and I was getting nervous. whether or not I would get it approved, whether or not I'd be able to fly. I had paid for everything. So it eventually came through, I would say about 10 to 14 days after the application. I don't know if this is standard. My friend also put in for hers and she got it within 24 to 48 hours. So I'm not quite sure what's determining that difference. If you have been to Grenada from the UK or other countries, how has the experience with the Grenada travel authorization been for you? It would be interesting to know what is standard for them and what isn't. Anyways, with regards going back to the home versus hotel quarantine, for the home quarantine, they have some certain stipulation. I believe if you're elderly, over 65, if you're traveling with young children, if you have certain medical health conditions, then you automatically can be easily exempt. I didn't have any of those, so I just went off on the ground that I was fully vaccinated. As I said, initially they refused my application, and then a few days before I was supposed to fly, they approved the same application. So I think there was an error in the system, but I'm thankful for that error. As a result, I was able to home quarantine with my friend. And then I spent one day in quarantine. So I arrived Thursday evening, and there was a whole lot of drama on arriving to Grenada. I have the videos, I will show you guys. Do check out the vlog. I arrived Thursday. I arrived on Wednesday, sorry. I spent the entire of Thursday inside, and then I got a call Friday morning about 10 a.m. so quite early, to release me. There was a lot of drama as well with the call, because the guy was saying, oh, he didn't have anyone listed in the system that I was home quarantining with, which is quite odd. Luckily, I had my receipts. I had text messages between myself and their travel authorization, which I screenshot and sent to him, and then he was able to clarify on his end that indeed I had done everything by the book, and I was released Friday morning, and that was getting to Grenada. I hope this short video helped with regards to what to expect. One, traveling to a green country, and two, if you decide to travel to Grenada. It would be great to hear your experiences traveling with the current climate, and as well, have you found any cheaper COVID test that's reliable, and have you been to Grenada? Is it on your list? Are you going to travel now? Are you going to delay? How has traveling been for you guys? Personally, I decided to travel because it's just been a really rough 2 years, and I just felt that I needed a break. I needed a new environment. I needed a reset. And even though I knew there was the risk of coming in contact with multiple individuals, I think for mental health that it was a necessary trip, and it was quite a memorable trip for me. And do check out my vlog, and I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you do, don't forget to give a thumbs up, and yeah, looking forward to hear what your traveling stories have been like thus far. And stay safe, everyone. Bye.